Here to remember the lives of the 14 women who were killed 32 years ago today in a senseless act of gender-based violence. My name is Rupert Santos, and I'm the Secretary for the University of Manitoba Engineering Society. I'm honored to be your MC for today's event. Before we begin, we would like to acknowledge that the University of Manitoba campuses are located on the original lands of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Ojibwe, Dakota, and Dene people, and on the homeland of the Métis Nation. We respect the treaties that were made in these territories, we acknowledge the harms and mistakes of the past, and we dedicate ourselves to move forward in partnership with Indigenous communities in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. On December 6, 1989, a man entered École Polytechnique with a loaded rifle. He entered a mechanical engineering classroom and ordered the women to one side of the room and the men to the other. He shot and killed 6 of the 9 women. By the end of the massacre, in only 20 minutes, 14 women were killed and 14 individuals were injured. This tragedy cannot be forgotten, and December 6th is now recognized as the National Day of Remembrance and Action on Violence Against Women. This year, December 6th will mark the 32nd anniversary of that day. It is important to recognize how much the situation for women in engineering has changed in the past 32 years, but also to recognize how far we still have to go. This day is meant to commemorate the 14 women who died in that massacre. I invite Dr. Marcia Friesen, the Dean of the Price Faculty of Engineering, to the podium to deliver remarks on behalf of the faculty and the university.
Good morning, everybody. So just over 30 years ago, a man walked into École Polytechnique engineering school on the final day of fall term classes. He walked into a class where students were doing their term project presentations. And as Rupert said, he separated the men and the women in the room, and he killed many of the women. He also killed other women that weren't in the room that day, but were in the engineering school, and one woman who was not in the engineering school, and he injured men as well. His actions that day broke families who lost their daughter or their girlfriend or a friend forever. His actions caused PTSD to women and men who survived, and some took their own lives in the years following. His actions left his own mother with a horrible legacy to carry as society judged her. And I read an article once where she said she heard the news and she sent a prayer to the family of the shooter, not realizing it was her son. I was in grade 12 when this happened, just a year or two younger than perhaps some of you here today and those watching our stream. I had already more or less decided to go into engineering, but I was also very alert to the messages around me, which always had one of 2 themes. One, engineering would be very difficult because it was difficult subject matter. And 2, engineering would be very difficult and possibly lonely because there were so few other women in engineering. When the Women in Engineering wall over there was unveiled about 6 or 7 years ago, like many who were here for the unveiling event, I also went up to the wall, curious to find my name on the list of female graduates of this faculty. I was surprised at how far to the left I had to go, that is, to the beginning of the list. I didn't realize at the time how uncommon it was to be a woman here in engineering in the 1990s. Over the years, December 6th, the Montreal Massacre has been shared with several different movements. From the beginning, it was understood from the notes and from the writings of the gunman that he was angry. He was angry because he wanted to be in engineering. He had not achieved that, and he blamed women for, quote, taking his spot. It was clear that for him, this was about engineering in particular, and it was about women in particular. Since then, the day has also been used to focus on gun control, and it has also been used to focus on the elimination of violence against women in society generally. And we share this day with these campaigns, and I'd like to reflect on what it meant for engineering, though. I realize that for our students here, it's difficult to imagine what this might have meant 32 years ago. So perhaps here's one way to think of it. These women were like you. The students in that class were near the end of their studies. Some were graduating that year. They had known each other for several years. They were friends, classmates. They had gone through the highs and lows of engineering, and suddenly they were supposed to continue on without 13 of their classmates, the 14th women being from a different faculty. Another way to think of it was that these women were just like me. Had they lived, they would be my age now, just a few years older. And I think about what my engineering colleagues, women, are up to these days. One is vice president of a major consulting firm. Two are assistant deputy ministers in government. One is CEO of a company that she founded doing niche engineering work across North America with about 20 employees. Several are professors doing award-winning research and teaching, and a few are deans at other universities. These are women that are near the height of their careers, where their impact to our profession is the greatest, and they are all committed to the best possible principles for being in this profession. That is to use technology as a foundation to advance sustainable communities, social equity, and good governance. And that's the potential that we lost in the Montreal massacre. But we also lost 14 people who would have been part of families and communities, who would have had interesting hobbies, volunteered for causes they believed in, and would have been known for their quirks and also for the gifts that they brought to life. If you have a mother and have a warm relationship to your mother or a mother figure in your life, you can imagine if she were not in your life. We lost 14 women who at this point, had they lived, would be going about their day much like me, making family dinners, checking in with you as to how you're doing and how university is going, who would have been at your games and recitals and drove you to practices and the things that kept you busy in high school. Your family, my family, and their family would have looked different. I'm driving at a sense of belonging, a sense of safety, and a sense of home. And that is the potential that we lost in the Montreal massacre. So from that perspective, I'm quite willing to share December 6th, a day where women were killed because they chose engineering as their profession. I'm willing to share it with anyone who struggles to feel that this profession has a place for them. I share this day with the gay or the trans student who hides their identity. I share this day with the Indigenous student who wonders whether it's acceptable to bring their lived experience to school here. I share this day with newcomers and international students who feel lonely and struggle to feel at home here. Engineering has a place for everyone, and the work ahead of us is to use our actions in whatever role we play here and whatever scale our actions are to drive this forward. The women etched on our staircase behind our student here remind us of this purpose. Thank you for coming today. I'm really glad that you're here.
Thank you, Dr. Friesen. I now invite David Abad, Senior Stick of the University of Manitoba Engineering Society, to speak.
Good morning. Thank you to everyone here for taking time out of your day to come together in recognition of the École Polytechnique massacre. It is with heavy hearts that we remember the 14 victims of this senseless act, which occurred on this day 32 years ago. The events of December 6, 1989 serve as a reminder that we cease to live in a world of perfect equality. And it is for this reason that December 6 is recognized as a National Day of Remembrance and Action on Violence Against Women. The marked increase in participation of women in STEM fields, including engineering, over the last number of years represents one of the most important steps forward to creating a just and equitable world. Even within the Price Faculty of Engineering here at the University of Manitoba, the last number of years have seen an increased participation of women, both within the student body and within positions of student leadership. Although much progress has been made, we still have far to go. We cannot take the work done by people before us for granted, and must continue to take steps forward to continue to create a more equitable and just world, so that the events of December 6, 1989 may never happen again. On behalf of the University of Manitoba Engineering Society, thank you so much for attending today's memorial.
Thank you, David. I now invite Avery Edwards, Vice Dic Social of the University of Manitoba Engineering Society, to speak.
Good morning. Good morning, faculty, staff, students, and friends. My name is Avery Edwards, and I am the Vice Dic Social for UMES and in my third year of mechanical engineering. Today is a day of self-reflection and remembrance, and I'd like for all of you to think for a moment about what this day means to you. What did you think of? Your mom, your grandmother, your aunt, sister, or friend? The tragedy of so many lives lost senselessly, or about our role as an engineering community and our fight for advancing equality, diversity, and inclusion. On this day, I think about my female friends and peers within the faculty, how smart and talented they are, how driven and strong they are, how every day they change the face of engineering. Then I think about the women of École Polytechnique and how they were probably just as driven, strong, talented, and inspiring. They would have changed the face of engineering. They each had their own individual dreams and aspirations in life, but instead their faces have become a reminder that evil exists in our world. They remind us why we must continue to honor their memory in our fight for a world where no one lives in fear simply for studying or practicing a profession they are passionate about. This year, they would have been turning approximately 56 years old. By this time, they would have completed a successful year in engineering and now be looking forward to retirement. Their children would be entering university or the workforce, or possibly even pursuing engineering themselves. But due to the horrendous actions of one man, their lives were cut short and their future never came to be. Even though this tragedy took place 32 years ago, it is extremely relevant and significant within the lives of engineering students and engineering professionals. As a female mechanical engineering student myself, it is important to me that on this day of remembrance and action on violence against women, we not only remember the Montreal Massacre victims, but reflect on discrimination within engineering and other faculties and how to remove it. I am incredibly thankful for the improvements in diversity in engineering faculties across the country, and I plan to continue this growth wherever I can. A lot of work has been done, but there's still so much to do. Together, we have the ability to make a difference through our actions, through our intentions, and through the words we use. By working together, engineers can accomplish anything. So let today be a reminder of why we do the things we do to create a community reflective of the ones we serve. Thank you.
Thank you, Avery. Today, we have 14 candle holders. There are 7 males and 7 females, indicating the equality of the genders. The names of the 14 victims will now be read by Hunter Waite, while the 14 candles are being lit. Following this, we will observe a moment of silence to honor the 14 victims of this terrible tragedy.
Thank you, Rupert. Geneviève Bergeron. Geneviève was a second-year full scholarship student in mechanical engineering. She had a love for music and engineering and had a tough time deciding which one of these to study in university. But eventually, she decided on taking engineering, and she said she never regretted that decision. She was 21. Maryse Leclerc. Maryse was in her fourth year in metallurgical engineering. She was of character, having been a leader in the classroom as well as one of the top students of her school. She had a year to go before graduation and was very excited to pursue her passion. She was 23. Hélène Colgan. Hélène was in her final year of mechanical engineering and was looking forward to pursuing her master's degree. She had multiple job offers and was looking forward to choosing her long-term career. She was 23. Barbara Dagnon was a fourth-year student in mechanical engineering and was also expecting to graduate by the end of the year. Her father was a mechanical engineering professor, and she wanted to make him proud and become one as well. She was 22. Anne-Marie Edwards. Anne-Marie was a very active chemical engineering student. As well as being involved in the student council, she was also one of the most gifted members of the ski team, a sport that she fell in love with at a very young age. She was 21. Maude Habernick. Maude was an energetic second-year metallurgical engineering student. Maude had already earned a degree in environmental design, but she dreamed of becoming an engineer and decided to return to school. She was 29. Barbara Klunik-Widadrich. Barbara was a first-year nursing student, having decided to change her career as an economist in Poland to support her husband's physician's training in Montreal. Being recent immigrants, she was in the engineering cafeteria with her husband because it was the cheapest place to eat. She was 31. Maryse Lagagnier. Maryse worked in the engineering school's finance department and had just been married 3 months before her death. She was known to always be smiling and well appreciated by her colleagues. She was 25. Anne-Marie Lemay. Anne-Marie was a fourth-year mechanical engineering student. She was nearing graduation and was on the organizing committee so she could make it perfect for everyone. According to her choir partners, she had one of the best voices and everybody loved her. She was 22. Sonia Pelletier. Sonia was one class away from graduating with a mechanical engineering degree. She was the first engineering student from the remote town of St. Ulrich, and her graduation was the talk of the town. Known to many as a future leader, she was the head of her class. She was 28. Michelle Richard. Michelle, or Mimi to those that knew her, was a second-year metallurgical engineering student. She had been working with Maude on the same metals project all term and was excited to present it to the class. She was about to get married and had reconciled with her estranged father so that he could walk her down the aisle. She was 21. Nathalie Croteau. Nathalie was 3 months shy of earning her degree in mechanical engineering. She was very excited to be graduating and was planning on taking a 3-week vacation to Mexico with Hélène Colgan, her best friend and classmate. She was 23. Annie Saint Arnaud. Annie was one class away from graduating with a mechanical engineering degree as well. She was planning on getting married and had numerous job interviews lined up. She was 23. Annie Turcotte. Annie was in her first year of engineering and was very excited to pursue her dream of improving Canada's recycling system by becoming a metallurgical engineer. She was extremely intelligent and was a full scholarship student. She was 20.
Thank you. This concludes today's memorial. I would like to thank the volunteers that made this memorial possible and our speakers, Dr. Marcia Friesen, David Abad, Avery Edwards, and Hunter Waite. December 6th will forever be a dark day for our community and country. We remember the victims whose lives were taken from us all too soon 32 years ago. To those gathered here in the Engineering Information and Technology Complex, and to those watching many online, thank you for joining us.